There is a community called Bachada community in Madhya Pradesh. मतलब गांव के गांव are on the highway. They just do this business. When there is a girl child born in their family, they rejoice because they can sell her when she's 18, 13, or 14. So that's how terrible the whole issue is. And it's a very complex problem, It's been happening since years. How do you fix that? So we work towards resolving these complex problems through innovative methods and design systems, and in many ways. So it's small effort to see how we can do this, resolve this problem differently rather than just rescuing and rehabilitating girls.
Welcome to Intensify Humanity podcast. We bring the stories of ordinary human beings with extraordinary journeys. They have been grinded through life in terms of extreme challenges, guilt, shame, and things people cannot even imagine. All because they made a choice or decision in life. They are literally not just inspiring, but intensifying humanity through unconventional ways to such an extent that other human beings are inspired and pushed to live to their highest potential in life. I, Somdutta Sarkar, your host today, will bring about the story of one such human being. I hope you find this episode inspirational. Would you imagine yourself traveling in the local trains of Mumbai and get harassed by fellow passengers, especially when you are a woman? No, and nobody likes that. But the bigger question is, who is actually cleaning the mess? We all are tired of listening to all the incidents that our mothers, sisters, and friends face on a daily basis, but we all just talk about that. But not this man. After the Nirbhaya brutal incident, this human being took matters in his hands to do his level best in catching hold of the molesters in the Mumbai locals, whom he calls as railway rowdies. His initiative, WAR, which is War Against Railway Rowdies, is a bold step where he himself uses a special goggles fitted with a spy camera which captures the real-time molesters, and he submits those proofs to the police authorities. Till now, he has caught hold of 150 plus such people. He is also a TEDx speaker and have spoken to many such platforms to share his experiences, stories, and at the same time raising awareness. This human being is not only saving but intensifying humanity by saving so many women on the go by his selfless service and his contributions towards anti-human trafficking. He is none other than Dipesh Tank. Welcome, Dipesh, to my show Intensify Humanity.
Hi.
So let me ask you, Dipesh, the first question, which I generally ask my guests. How do you start your day?
How do I start my day? I don't know if this is the right thing to say, but I start my day with a lot of gratitude and the happiness in my heart, because I feel every day when you wake up, the first thing I do is I get up and I open up my window, and I have this beautiful, like 5 to 7 beautiful plants that I have. And you just look at that, and there's breeze coming in, and it's just amazing to see that. So I think my day starts with that, and then of course you get into this whirlpool called life, where there are it's a mix of everything. And I think it's fair to go through that also. So yeah, my day is pretty good. Like, yeah, I like to see mornings, and I'm a pretty happy person when I wake up.
That is a beautiful way to start your day, with gratitude. Even I do the same. You share with us about yourself, like your background and a little bit of your story?
So I'm born and brought up in this place called Villeparle, Irla, which is a small town in Mumbai suburbs. And it was not a very easy childhood, honestly, because I come from this family of very average earning income people. My father was into construction line, into redeveloping houses, and my till my till I was 14, I was doing relatively okay. Until then, I had to support my family, so I had to move out of education, and then I had to give up my education, and I had to start working to support my family because my father was not well. And that was the reason why I had to start my career early, to understand and learn new things, because I'm a non-graduate. So I had to do that. And the good thing is that my mother started her catering business that gave me a little bit of space to do what I wanted to do. And I used to work for this one computer hardware manufacturing company where my job was to repair computers and learn computers and everything about hardware and software. So it gave me like a good 3 to 4 to 5 years to support my self because my mother was taking care of the family and my father was helping my mom in her catering business. So I was until 5 years I was working in this computer manufacturing company, and until one day I had to move out of that organization. And then I was clueless about what am I going to do now, because and there's a reason why I'm saying this, because every job that I've done, every business, every opportunity that I've had in my life is not something that I've ever asked or imagined for. It may sound pretty crazy because it may sound pretty non-ambitious or not a very good thing, but I think it's always worked for me, and I'm really grateful because I feel that that's where I say when I have gratitude towards life is because of this. I was working in this manufacturing company, a small company. I moved out. I was into selling events. I was into events and selling world space radios and doing some various promotion work. I was absolutely clueless about how to even do that. So I did that for some time, and then I moved out from there. And until there was this whole thing about like call centers are the new big thing, and this will support you and this will make you good. And you won't believe, because I could not even speak or communicate in English at that time well, or defend myself in any discussion. So for me, it was absolutely a miracle when I went to give the interview. A friend of mine was not selected. I got selected, and so my company that I was working for previously, the computer manufacturing company, had about the salary I used to get at the end of fifth year was about 1,500 rupees. Okay, and this is funny because I went there and I got selected, and I was been given an offer letter by the HR, and the amount was written like 13500. And I was like, in my head, like I used to get 1,500 in the previous organization, and I'm getting here 1,350 rupees. So like a fool, I go to the HR and say that, hey, my salary is only 1350 rupees, 1,350 rupees. To which he just looked and said, like, no, idiot, this is 13,500 rupees. So in my head, I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do with so much of money? So that was pretty funny because I never imagined I would land up in a multinational company working for one of the biggest computer manufacturing company called Dell at the time. So I used to repair computers of Dell customers in United States, and that was my job. Like, so I learned a lot. It was very tough, and I think the universe was very kind, and I was supposed to get that job because my family needed that support. Because by the time I joined the call center, my mother stopped her business of catering, and we needed that kind of support. So everything falls in place when you completely surrender to the universe and just believe in the universe, that the fact that it will come to your rescue if you trust and believe them. So it was a big learning for me. Okay. And for 5 years I worked in Dell computers until one day, and I will put this on record because I'm not ashamed of it as much as I regret that incident happened. It was the fifth year of my call center, and I'm a vegetarian by choice. It's not about religion for me, but it's more about choice that I have. So I don't eat meat. Okay. And this and I have and from a longest time I have this issue of, if there's something not right, then you raise up, like at least say. You don't have to fight, you don't have to argue, nothing, but just say nicely. So every time I used to take a break at 3 o'clock in the morning, the food used to be stale or used to be having some problems because half of the office is not in the premise, and HR is not there, the admin is not there, so it's quite lag that way. So I used to get frustrated. I'm like, why is this food not good? So one of the person had issues in like, everybody's enjoying this stale food. Why are you questioning? So he used to mess with my food by putting some meat pieces or bones and all of that. So I told him like three times before that, and this was like the fifth year. And I'll tell you why I feel this happened, because I was supposed to move out. Otherwise, by myself, I would have never left call center. So I told that guy, like, why are you messing with my food? Like, So he's like, so the guy actually was like inside the cafeteria, and I was talking to the manager. Okay. And this is surprising because this guy like instigated me saying, "Usse kya baat karta hai? You talk to me." Basically, why are you talking to him? You talk to me if you have like whatever, you know. And I lost it. Like, I really lost it. And I'm really ashamed of that because, in a corporate environment, one should not do this. And I went inside and I pushed him and I slapped him because it's a choice that I have, and I'm not justifying it. Okay, it's a choice that I have of not asking, let's say, cucumber in my sandwich, and if you still put that and give it to me, I don't know what to do. And it's not like there are other cafeterias in the organization where I can go and not choose this cafeteria. I have to go there. I have to eat at 3 o'clock. I will not get food outside. So I lost it and I slapped him. Okay, in that process, a lot of things happened. The matter was escalated to the HR, and HR said that, hey, you know what, you can't be doing this, and you should. This is not right, and everybody will do this. So hence, you have to leave this organization. And I was into like splits, and I was like, what am I going to do now? you know, and I was like in tears, and I'm like, what have I done to my life? And my career is over, and all of that was happening. Okay, so for me, I would have never left that organization if at all. I would have if this incident would have not happened. So I feel there's always a reason for something that happens in our life, and you know you can sit and keep crying, about the fact that why did this happen, and what did I do wrong, and I could have done better, everything. But the sooner you get over it and realize that life is also about maneuvering you for where you have to be. So you may not want to do that, but you may never want to give up and do it to take that chance on your own. But you let the universe or the life take you through that. So I could have sat like 1 week and kept crying about the fact that, oh my God, I was been terminated, I was been rusticated from the organization, I was been what is going to happen? My father is not well, my mother is almost left the job, my brother is studying. But then when one door shuts in your life, there are many doors that opens. We just need to realize that. And I've always trusted that part. So I'm more fearless right now. Not that I go about slapping people in their offices, but I try and live with absolute. I surrender myself, and I'm like, I know I will never go wasted, and I will not go down. So that's how I left the job of call center, and I went ahead and I was like, then there was this whole challenge about what am I going to do now, So then and there was this friend of mine who was part of a Reiki group that I was in. He said, Dipesh, you are very good at what you do at times in creatives. Why don't you try working for an events or an ad agency? So I'm like, I don't even know what ad agencies are. What do they do? And what are the stuff that happens there? To which he said, don't worry, it's my own company. You come, I will teach you. I will give you an X amount as a salary, and you work for me. So I was like, fine. and and I learned there, and I'm really grateful to him because he helped me, he supported me and my family that time. So I learned about advertising there. And then one day his company was not doing too well. So he told me that, Dipesh, there is a problem. So I would recommend you to find something else. And he put me on to one of the radio stations in Mumbai. And he said, like, there is a vacancy here. I have spoken to somebody. Just go and give the interview and see if you can get selected. And, and I went there, and this is life. Like, an average boy on the street who's been listening to radio and has fan and is like in awe of all the RJs, because that time was the time when the whole trend about radio jockeys and VJs was like very, very important to a lot of youngsters. So I was listening to this radio show, and I used to like hear them. I used to love these guys, like who the RJs. And now the next thing I do is that I become the producer of that show because I cleared that interview in that radio station, and I start working with these guys. Like, and I'm like, I can't even comprehend in my head, like. like, what do I do? Like, should I be their fan? Should I be their colleague? What should I do with them? Like, So I was really grateful to that job also because it taught me a lot of things. Like it enabled my creative side in so many ways. I used to play a lot of characters and it gave me a lot of opportunity that I never ever imagined that was there in me or I could ever do that. So like I said before, when one door shuts in your life, or if there is anything that happens in your life, it happens because there is a reason. And the sooner we understand and realize that has happened because of some or the other reason, and it is only going to help me and improve and make me better as a human being and as a person, you know. So I'm really grateful to all these workplaces for allowing me to evolve in whatever little way. And after the radio job, I moved out from there and I was working for an advertising company. Now, this gentleman is called Mr. Ram D. Ramki. By far, one of the most amazing man I know. Like, he's one of the most amazing human being I know. So it was really an honor to work with him. He was very flexible, very loving, and very creative and very smart man. So I worked for 5 years in that organization. I moved out from there, and I'm like, one day I was sitting home and I was like, I don't want to like keep working and making these presentations for people who want to get more rich. And I decided I spoke to my boss saying that, hey, boss, I need to start working in social development sector, and that's my calling, I feel. So he said, fine, do that. And if it doesn't work out, come back. These doors are always open for you. So that was a huge confidence for me. And I started working for a corporate CSR. The less I knew that the nonprofit starts working like corporates, and that's where my disconnect was. And I'm like, oh my God, like I didn't imagine this. Like a nonprofit should work as nonprofit and should not work as a corporate. So, anyways, but I moved out from there again after some time, and then I joined an anti-trafficking organization. So I realized there was a lot of apathy, there was a lot of suffering in this field of a commercial sex business where innocent girls have been bought from different parts of the country, forced into working in sexual commercial sex, and so I started working for this organization and I'm still working with that organization. And yeah, I think I'm very content and I'm happy in what I'm doing. Um, that's what my journey till now when it comes to work. And apart from that, in 2006, a very tragic incident happened in Mumbai city. It was the Mumbai train bomb blast where so many innocent lives were lost. And as a citizen, I felt really terrible about that. So, me and my brother and some of my friends were going and helping people in different hospitals and trying to do every possible thing as a common citizen should be doing. And realized that there was a need to come up with a platform on which a lot of youngsters should come and support the society in a more constructive way. And a lot of youngsters have been blamed and accused of just partying and not being socially responsible. So we wanted to do something with a twist where we do things which has been done always, but we do it in a very interesting way. So we were supporting a lot of hospitals and families with blood donation, and we came up with this idea of how to encourage a lot of youngsters to support and donate blood. So with my friends in Bombay Rock Association and this organization that I started called Youth for People, we started this initiative called as the Rush of Blood, which is a musical blood donation drive. So there is 9 hours of live music, and people donate blood simultaneously. That's what that's how exactly everything started off. And today I am working for this nonprofit, and I'm doing pretty good. I feel it's very content. I'm very content and happy. Yes.
I simply don't have any words after whatever you have said. You really have an up and down and interesting experience. So,
Thank
Dipesh, my next question is, you are prominently known and covered everywhere as the person who started this bold initiative. Bold, I'm saying, because nobody thought of putting a spy camera and capture all the real time incidents happening against women and handing them over to the authorities and the Mumbai locals. Even if people have thought of, but you actually did it. How this idea came to your mind and when did you first take this action?
Again, everything that I've done in my life, you can say good or bad. It's not something that I've ever planned, okay, or ever wanted to do, okay. So I feel like it's like all fallen in my lap, and that's the only and only possible understanding that is there of my life, okay. You can never sit and think like, because you must have thought working in advertising, that's why you are in advertising. Never ever could have that happen, okay. Because I never thought I was so skilled or I was so smart enough to work or do things like these. Uh, it's like life every time puts you into this pool, and you don't know how to swim, but the universe knows that you can swim. So it just breaks you, like it puts you in that situation. Now get out from there, and you survive. So war against railway rowdy started in 2013. Never ever imagined I was going to office in the advertising company with Mr. Ramki. uh, I was going there and I saw these bunch of guys who were harassing women with a long flower and trying to hit them and slap them and teasing them and saying some really really nasty things to them, harassing them sexually. As a man, I really felt ashamed. I'm like, that's not what men are all about. I just feel that like there should be respect to women in every capacity as much as you don't have to like do out of the you don't have to do like super good things, but you can't hurt them also. Like there is definitely a way to approach a woman, and if you really want to do that, then you need to learn that how to do that. So I felt that that was not right. I called up immediately the the helpline of 9833331111. This is GRP helpline of Mumbai local trains. And I tried to catch these guys at Dadar, but they could not. They ran away or they got off, and things were like didn't work out. So the next day, I was so shocked by that incident. See, I'm born and brought up in this city. Okay, I know that what is that limit of a man, what is that limit of a citizen in the city to even make fun of people that you don't know. Okay, first of all, nobody should do that, but I understand that, like So this was way beyond that. This is like you're like getting into somebody's personal space and humiliating them. That really bothered me, and I next day went ahead and spoke to this senior police inspector of Borivali police station, and I requested him that, sir, we need to catch these guys. I request you to help me out. So he gave me one of his constable, saying that you identify these guys and I will catch them. So I'm like, fine, fantastic job, sir. So I go there and I wait for 3 hours, and I see there were more than 10 to 15 such groups who are doing these ridiculous things. And I just could not make it, like, again in my head, like this cannot be just solved by by just catching one or two people. This has to be done on a larger scale. So I went back to the cop and I told him, like, sir, we need to do much larger thing. The problem is that every time these guys move out of the the station in the running train, they harass women. So it's not about like when the train is moving inside the station, they will do that. So if you have to really catch these guys, you have to have patrolling on one platform A and platform B. So if I am at Malad and if I see some guys harassing women at Malad, then I have to catch them at Goregaon. Then that's how it'll hit them hard, rather than catching them at any time they're walking on a platform or somewhere, some other place, and then telling them that, oh, you harassed some women, we know it. you know so but they were not ready to do that. They were like, because railway is divided into RPF and GRP, which are two different government bodies. One is the state responsibility, the other is a central responsibility, central government responsibility. So I kept getting juggled between these two organizations. Very disappointed. Very, it was because I used to leave my work and go and meet these officers, and they were like, "You go and first meet them and get their approval, and then we'll meet you." So they kept doing that to me. But nevertheless, after about 4 months, this started in August, September, October, November, December. After 4 months, we finally made both of these two entities to come and work together and to catch these guys. And we planned it like we were live streaming at Goregaon Malad station. and the live streaming was happening at Goregaon station. So we used to see anybody used to harass. There was a visual as well as a verbal information given to the Goregaon team, and it worked out pretty well for that moment because people are scared. Like, for the first time they thought like we can get caught at the next station, and that was we wanted to play this game more psychological rather than more theoretical. Uh, because you it's like a cop hiding behind a tree. You will never jump a signal. you know so similarly, if real time patrolling is happening inside a train, or if you catch them at the next station for the act that they've done at the previous station, then we can very much hit them hard, and they will be scarred for life. Like, they would never do that because they know mujhe kabhi bhi koi pakad sakta hai. So it went well, and then after some time everything stopped again. So war is into its fourth year, and we've caught about 160 people till today, and these people have offenses across all offenses, basically from harassing commuters, majority of them females, performing stunts, hitting passengers on the head while they're walking on the platform, and various other things. Unfortunately, war is a little slow right now because my work is not permitting me to stay in Bombay a lot. So I keep traveling, and then there was so it's a little slow, but I mean it's always on. Like, every time I see somebody harassing somebody else, especially when I will stand up and say, "Boss, this is not right. Like, you need to speak it out and finish it." So I felt that was all about war, and war gave me a lot of limelight and support, and people came in forward. I never imagined, and most of these things that got viral hap- in war was after 3 years. So it's funny for me to sit and think about it because when I started it, it was not getting very popular, but after 3 years, suddenly one day it just goes viral and just goes on, and I'm really humbled. At the same time, I'm also concerned and worried because I'll be very honest, I'm no hero or any of that. I get scared, and I am also worried about my life because nobody wants to go out in a train every day or walk out of the house and keep having fights with people around them. But I don't know who else will do this, and I don't know how many of us will do this. So I'm doing it as much as I can in every capacity I have. At least I won't be guilty of not trying enough, is my answer, if at all. Like, a lot of people ask me, why don't you scale this up and do different things? And I'm like, there's only certain things I can do. It's very easy to tell people that आप ये करो वो करो इसको बढ़ाओ आगे बढ़ो ये करो वो करो अच्छी बात है मतलब encourage करना भी अच्छी बात है. But there's a lot of other things that happens in my life, and my mind has to be empty to do new things. If it's full, then I can't do anything. So I do in my own capacity. My only objective is that, looking at me, if people will gather that courage and do the kind of work that I'm doing, then I'll be successful. I mean, I don't know how much I enjoy getting appreciation from people, because after a point, it's like a slap on my face saying that you do this, we are behind you. It's like nobody wants Bhagat Singh in the house; everybody wants in the neighbor's house. So I don't want to. I don't want to be that. Definitely, this is as much as your country, as much as it's mine, and I've promised to take care of this country, and and all of us should be doing that. And I always say this: loving your country does not mean abusing a country, another country, or a religion, or a community, or wearing a national flag and screaming Bharat Mata Ki Jai. But at the same time, the same Bharat Mata, who I consider all the women in this country, they've been abused and they've been troubled, whether it's trafficking, whether it's sexual harassment, or whether it's any kind of violence, then where is that love for your country? So loving your country means taking care of the problems and resolving them. You have to fix the problem of your country if you really mean that you love your country. You know, patriotism is not about abusing another country or a religion or a community. Patriotism is about forgiving, allowing, and loving. So, so yeah, and that's how the war journey was. I'm very overwhelmed and I'm really grateful. At the same time, I'm also not very happy about the fact that there is so much of appreciation, but uh, there is no support in terms of being part of this initiative. So, um, But yeah, I mean, like I said, this is my own personal initiative. I'll keep doing it as long as I can. And that's a promise that I also gave to Nirbhaya when in 2012 the Nirbhaya incident happened in Delhi. So yeah, and I'm doing it in every capacity possible that I can. I'm not the best, and I don't understand a lot of things. I do what my heart says, and I'm doing it. So that's what it is all about. Yes.
As a woman, I really thank you from the bottom of my heart that whatever selfless activity you are doing, because at the ground level, you are doing the work.
So my only thing is that like it's not a shop. It's not like my duty. I mean, of course, my duty, but it's not like a business that I've started to help people. Often it's been said, "Arey, wo NGO wala hai, wo help kar dega." It's a very wrong way to present somebody. I just get like random forwards from people saying that there is a blood requirement, help. If you really want that job to get done, you should call and say, you know what, somebody I know needs help. Can you help? How can I help you to get them this support? Don't just pass it on to people because you think this person will do the job, because it's his job to do good. So tomorrow, if I, let's say by any reason, like sometimes I'm not fine, like I'm not mentally fine, I'm emotionally not fine, I'm psychologically not fine. I don't want to help anybody. I just want to sit home and take care of myself. And I want to just be with myself. And at that time, if somebody messages, calls, or anything, and if I don't answer, then I'll become a very bad person. So there is so much of pressure onto people like me, I would say, where I don't think that there's anything that I'm doing is great. I'm just doing what an average citizen should be doing. All those freedom fighters, all those people who laid their life to make this country free and beautiful, didn't wait for this day to come where we just keep seeing the mess that is happening around this country, and we just give it up, wait for someone else to come and bring in the change. So I'm doing as much as I can. I'm just popular and I'm different because I do things that ideally you should be doing also, and I'm just doing that. So everybody should be doing. You know what I mean? Like, so for me, I just feel that I'm just an average citizen. I'm an aware citizen. I know my duty as a citizen, and I'm trying my best to bring in this social change in this country.
So, from this point, my next question is I have also seen you speaking about conditioning since our childhood, which is what I feel is the root cause of all the problems we have today, the conditioning, the belief system. What do you think should be the hard hitting step to break this kind of conditioning, be it kids, adults, gender based, or whatever it is?
So, and I'm no expert on understanding conditioning. Okay, I'm no expert in understanding gender bias, but I just feel that there is enough being done to bring this disparity between two sexes, like the male, female, and the transgenders. Okay, because we live in this world which is, especially in India, which is a very male dominated country. And I will say this because I'm not an evolved person when it comes to this. I may also think very conservatively, but I'm trying to change in my own little capacity and my conservative mind. Okay, so I'm no while I may say a lot of things, I may not even like maybe defaulting on those. Okay, but I'm still saying this because every time I say this, I'm trying to work on myself. So I feel that like we always try to divide as a weak two parts of our mind, which is weak and strong. So if you see everything around you, which is divided into these two things, which is weak and strong, whether it's living things or non-living things, okay? Similarly, so you place in these two categories all the living things and non-living things. Whether like एक घड़ी है तो strong है, अगर कोई fruits है तो weak है, अगर iron है तो strong है, अगर sponge है sponge है तो वो weak है, okay? और plastic है तो weak है. Similarly, a man hai, so he's a strong man. If it's a woman, then he's the weaker side. Okay, that's the conditioning that has been happening, and this is not happening from now. This is happening for years and years and years and years and years of oppression on women. Okay, and because in the head of man, they think that women are weak and they cannot do these things. Okay, And again, I'm saying that I'm not the best when it comes to understanding this, but this is what I feel, and I may be totally wrong. Okay. So I will just give some examples. Like you go to a child's birthday party and you'll gift a boy masculine stuffs like cars and superheroes and all of that. You'll never gift a guy a Barbie doll, or you go to a girl's party, you'll give her like a frock with polka dots or flowers on it and pink, and you make it so obvious, like you're already dividing the child. और saying lines like क्या चूड़िया पहन के रखी है तूने क्यों नहीं मार के आया तू उसको, because wearing a chudiya is a sign of weakness because women wear them, hence women are weak. So things like these are hurting because, and that's what it's been happening since childhood. Like I was always been told that women cry, and because women cry they are weak, people who cry they are weak, and that's not true. Like men cry too, I cry, and it's perfectly fine as much as you laugh and as much as you enjoy that side. So I think the solution to this is that you can't do anything about the generation that is already gone wasted. Okay. So, like, I would even put myself in that. Like, people like me, you can't do anything about that. Of course, we'll try our best, but we need to focus on the governments or the authorities should stop focusing on building statues and start thinking about how to bring gender neutrality into schools, how to bring the idea of an ideal citizen into the schools, how to tell the child to live in this present moment rather than teaching them something that is going to help them in the future or in what has happened in past. So there is no present education that is happening in this country. Like I was never been taught how to behave with a woman, like how to, like in my childhood there are times that I have unfortunately like hit my friend who's a woman, like not because I wanted to, but just there's a fight that happens and you don't know what to do. So things like that, like I was never been told by my teacher or my mother or my parents or anybody, like of course hitting anybody is bad, but how to behave with a lady, like I can't understand if my friends, they are, I mean, of course I do understand now, but for the longest time I did not understand if women are in the menstrual cycle, then how do I, like, can I be nice to her? Like, can you imagine the pain and suffering that you have to go through for 5 days? Like, can you imagine? Like, अगर मुझे कोई महीने में 5 दिन हर घंटे आके जोर से एक पिंच मारेगा ना, तो मुझे मैं पागल हो जाऊंगा. Like women have to go through that kind of things. Like, why don't we teach men, boys, how to behave with women if they are not fine? Can we be nice to them for 5 days at least? If not, and I'm not trying to say that because they're weak or any of that. I'm just saying that it's such a painful thing. Like I mean, why would anybody want to like go through that kind of thing? So how do you behave with women? How do you approach a woman? Like if you like somebody, then how do you go and tell her like, hey, you know what, I like you? And if she says no, then you just like, fine, you don't like me, fine. Unlike you go in as shown in a lot of movies, like you go behind her and she'll say no, you try to pull her dupatta and she'll say no, and then in the end एक गाने में ही लड़की पट जाती है. ठीक है. तो वो इतना मिसकम्युनिकेशन है कि लड़के लोग सब वही करते हैं और सेक्सुअल हरासमेंट ऐसे बढ़ता है. आप देखो गाने हैं, लड़की देखी मुंह से सीटी बजे हाथ से ताली. Like, do you agree that songs like these have actually added a lot of sexual harassment in this country? If women are walking on the street or like any of that, so there is a fundamental issue of how we are raising our children, including men and women, I would say. So I think it is the primary responsibility of government to make sure that such ideas of um, conditioning should not happen as much as they can. Like at least some initiative should start so that we have children and students and humans growing in this country who are rational, logical, and not just illogical all the time. So that's what I'm saying, that a conditioning is one of my understanding about, even for war. Like you imagine every person who have caught during the war initiative, I mean, they in all of their life is very similar. Like living into this one format where there is very less education, generation and generation of poverty, father hitting her mother, father hitting her daughter, mother hitting her daughter, daughter has been given works like झाड़ू मारना, पोछा मारना. तो ये एक फॉर्मेट है. इसमें फिर आप हिंदू, मुस्लिम, सिख, ईसाई किसी को भी रख लो, वो वैसे ही निकलने वाले हैं. तो उसमें कोई अलग नहीं होगा. सो आई नो लॉट ऑफ पीपल से दैट नो देयर आर लॉट ऑफ एक्स कम्युनिटी से लोग ज्यादा ये सब करते हैं. ऐसा नहीं है. मैं देखता हूँ हर कम्युनिटी के लोग हैं. तो ये हमको समझना है कि हमको समाज को कैसी दिशा में लेके जाना है. एक अच्छा सोसाइटी विल मेक एन गुड स्टेट. अ गुड स्टेट विल मेक अ गुड कंट्री. So we need to understand that uh, that these are very important and should be part of the curriculum into a child since their schooling.
Dipesh, you have spoken such powerful facts and the things which are considered stigma for over centuries in this country and other places as well. And especially talking about things like gender bias, sex, education, periods, and all these things have been so much of a big taboo. And the exact things that you said, that from the childhood it's like blue is for boys, pink is for girls, everything is based on the conditioning and the belief system that has been passed on from generation to generation and generation. And yes, you are right, because whatever the child sees at his place, at his home, in his school, he does the same thing. Whether it's a girl or a boy, does not matter. We never treat, or we never bring our children as a human being. We never bring them up as a human being. We always bring them up as a man and a woman. And I think that's where all the problem starts.
Exactly. Like
Yes.
I'll give you an example. Like if I'm not against women wearing short clothes. Okay, absolutely not. But the world and the society functions in such a way that in my head, like if let's say if I don't have a sister, but like I always think about it, like and I think a woman has a right to wear whatever she wants to. Okay, but I just feel that, like, if you know that there is one place near my house. Okay, like every night there are these, like, a lot of people, like, who are drunk and they are like sloshed, and they're like not from a very, like, most of them are tapuris and gundas. They come there, like, and they have food and they have chai and smoke and all of that. Now, I'm just thinking, like, if there is a girl who goes in a perfectly well dressed sari, okay, I'm not even talking about skirts, in a well dressed backless sari, okay, and then I wish that these boys will be aware and not disrespectful towards the woman. Then it would be perfect. Like, there would be no problem. But that when they do that, and because they want to seek attention of that woman, they will try and do these stunts, and that will end up into so much of discomfort between that girl and her friends and everybody. So my question is that why even create that society? Like, a lot of men who I speak to, they tell me, Dipesh, it's not about I don't want my girlfriend or wife or my sister to wear not wear short clothes because it's something that she will invite people. But there are some monsters on the street who are always like, they will try and make it very, they will embarrass you. So that is the reason why I will tell them. That's what I mean. Some of my friends tell me that, and I'm like, I even hear that point. I'm not saying that it should not happen, but of course, and the more you do that, the more they'll break that cliche. Like, if you keep doing that, you have to break that barrier also. So I even understand that side, and I'm just discussing this right now because at times we need to understand both the sides. It's easy to just keep blaming people who think conservative, but it's also there is another thing too. Okay, why is this thing coming from? Where is that insecurity coming from? If it's a father or a mother, if they know that my daughter is very beautiful, and I know that every time I walk on a street, there are 50 guys who keep looking at her and ogling at her. Okay, so if she wears like a very beautiful dress and goes, there'll be more men looking at her. So, like, and when there are more men looking, out of which one or two men will come and say something to her, or may try to approach her, or do something, like stupid. And then that would end up into that. Hence, the father or the mother will not let her go out of the house as much as she wants to. So I even understand that side. And hence I say that I wish there was a society where there were men who would respect another woman on the street, who would not just think like, because she's walking alone and she should be like troubled or harassed. So that's all I wanted to add. Yeah.
Yes, true. That's what I just mentioned, that it is not about a man or a woman, because you are also a man. You think in a different way. And it should be as a human being. Whenever you are thinking, it should be in terms of human being. If we keep aside the gender for some time, then these things doesn't come into picture, because you see, even men commit atrocities against women, even women commit atrocities against women.
True.
So it is about human beings. If you are a good human being, you will do good things. If you're a bad human being, you will do bad things. So it depends on the conditioning and the upbringing from the very tender age itself. And as you mentioned previously, that now you're working in anti trafficking, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So it is another grave area in the society where the light needs to be shed for all of us, and very little awareness is about that. So, could you share your experience or could you shed some light on that?
So I'm just going to state some fact because this is human trafficking is like one of the most heinous crime in the world. It's the third largest organized crime. It's the third largest profit making crime. More than 50,000 girls every year are missing. More than 80% out of those 50,000 girls land up into red light areas and commercial sex business. This means that every day about more than 300 girls are missing, and out of which 300, there could be like 250, 280 girls, would land in a red light area, getting raped every hour. Unfortunately, we are a very male dominated country. We feel that to satisfy our men's sexual frustration, we need to have red light areas, you know, ताकि हमारे शहरों के sex offense ratio कम हो जाए, which is the most misleading thing because how can you to stop harassing women, your inability to stop men to harass women sexually, you are basically saying that गांव से लड़कियों को लेके आओ, उसको कोठे पे रखो और उनका बलात्कार होने दो, मगर हमारे शहरों की लड़कियों को बचा के रखो. Like how is this even fair? Like they are as much as a citizen of this country as much as we the citizen of this city or this country. Okay, so it's a very heinous crime. Like, there are girls. I've been part of rescue missions where I've rescued a girl who was 9-year-old in a red light area. And it just breaks my heart. I am just so ashamed to be a man at times when I see that such girls have been like, asked by like men who are like 60, 65-year-old. So it's just one of the most dirtiest side. And again, like, we as a so-called Sabya Samaj has never ever realized the pain and suffering of these innocent girls. We think that they do it by choice. I always say this, that if I was 13-year-old, I've been bought in a red light area by just telling me that I'll give you a better job, then I've been raped for months. There's nobody to hear my voice because no white collar guy will roam from a red light area. तो उसको उनकी चीखें नहीं सुनाई देगी. And if they cannot hear their pain and suffering, then you cannot do anything about that. So you think after 6 months, she'll be like, fine, I'll do this business. And then after 1 year, she'll be like, that's her life. And then we say that they do it by choice. How is there a choice? As a society, we have failed to give them a fair choice. And that's where I feel we have failed miserably. 70 years after the independence of this beautiful country, we cannot give a basic right to live in free to these girls who are been pushed into the commercial sex business. I don't know any woman who would want to do this job if at all they had a fair opportunity to live this life. It's so unfortunate that human trafficking as a word is not as scary as cancer, rape, or all of these words, but it's just human trafficking. Like, what does it even mean? Like, what होता क्या है उसमें? लोगों को नहीं समझ पड़ता. और ये क्या है ना, इतना कंडीशनिंग करके रखा है कि ये तो अपनी मर्जी से करती है. So it's even hurting them more. So that's where I say that, like, we have to stand up against this heinous crime. Uh, and one has to do something about this. Unfortunately, there is very less attention towards that. If you read some of the articles, like there are girls who have like really at a young age, like, you'll be shocked to hear there are communities in Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, where the tradition is to sell their daughter into prostitution. The mother does that, the father does that, and the mother and the father will live their life on that girl who's a 13, 14-year-old girl who will like sleep with 25 monsters every day, whether she wants it or not. Even during the times when she's her menstrual cycle, she has no right to say no to that because that's the tradition. That's what they do. There is a community called Bachada community in Madhya Pradesh. मतलब गांव के गांव are on the highway. They just do this business. When there is a girl child born in their family, they rejoice because they can sell her when she's 18, 13, or 14. So that's how terrible the whole issue is. And it's a very complex problem, It's been happening since years. How do you fix that? So we work towards resolving these complex problems through innovative methods and design systems, and in many ways. So it's small effort to see how we can resolve this problem differently rather than just rescuing and rehabilitating girls. Nobody has ever gone ahead and hit the demand side. They've always tried and hit the supply side, like you will go and work in the source area, or you will rescue the girl, but customers को कोई सजा नहीं होती है unless the girl is minor. तो ये सब चीज है, and हमारी पुलिस के साथ मिलके हम काम करते हैं. Thankfully things are changing. I mean, I would say there's definitely hope, but there is very lots to do. Police is getting more sensitized, but there's more to be done. And yeah, we hope that one day there will be no girl who will be forced into prostitution.
That is some really shocking facts and figures coming out from a person who is actually literally working in that area. After all these things, like these are the real scenarios, real facts and figures. If I ask you, what is your dream environment be like an ideal one should be?
I think I'll be too idealistic if I ever imagine. I think it's important to live and let live. As much as it's a cliched line, but it really, if you think about it, we don't need a country that is biased towards a community or a religion, or hateful towards somebody. We need a country which is secular. We need a country that loves all religion or respects all human beings, all form of life, including animals. I mean, I just can't understand captivity of animals. In my head, like, I mean, it is our ego that this planet Mother Earth was designed only for humans. I mean, it's as much as their planet. You can't just suddenly one day say that, okay, this lion is in the jungle, we need to bring them in zoo and put them in jail. Like, that's not fair, that's not right. Like, in so many ways it's not right. You're just violating the the general ecosystem of life, nature. That's not how it's supposed to be. It's not part of the nature to keep any life in captivity. So for me, I always imagine it that way, that one should never we should respect all life and all life forms in every capacity we can. So my idea of ideal world is live and let live, and respect all religion, respect all human beings, respect all genders. Yes, if there is something not right, you stand up against that, irrespective of any gender. Don't And never stop questioning. So it's important to question. That's all.
Right, completely agree with you. So, do you believe that money and fame have a very strong positive part to play if used wisely for the ultimate benefit of the society and human beings at large?
I feel that, like, yes and no, because while I also feel that of course money is important, but at the same time I feel that money is not the everything. If you have the love and compassion towards everybody around you, then you don't need that. Like, and I'm saying this because there are times that you can do things like you don't need money to make somebody happy. And I'm just saying that, like, I can make you happy without giving you anything, or a gift, or just a gesture. So while money is important, at the same time, uh, fame can also do a lot of good. Like, if you use that right, fame. Like, if a Bollywood hero does not he stops running on the train and stops and says to everybody that one should not do this, people will not do that. If a Bollywood hero or a heroine stops harassing women or boys in when they're walking on the street and showing all that kind of stuff, things can be a different. I mean, it'll be a different world altogether. So I feel that one has to realize the importance of their face value and their popularity. And I mean, I always feel that we have a basic responsibility towards this society, this motherland, this Mother Earth, and it should be. Have you ever felt like, I don't know if you felt like, have you ever felt claustrophobic? Like, I have everything, but I still don't enjoy anything because you've always taken from this place. You've never given it back in any form. Like, so I always say that, like, whether it's 2% of your annual income or whether it's 2% of the annual service. Like, you see that, okay, the 2% of the annual income will be like 20,000 rupees. So every day I earn about 500 rupees. So till the time I complete 20,000 rupees, I will do a community service. That is my contribution towards the society. And then the energy cycle starts, as said by a very dear friend of mine called Sridhar Ramakrishnan. He's an energy management guru. He says that, one feels super claustrophobic because you don't complete the cycle of energy, of giving it back. You always want to take it from the motherland and this place. So one has to give it back in a constructive way. It's just not about just donating money, but it's also about doing something more constructive, going on ground and sweating, and that joy of working on ground and then sleeping is unbelievable. Like, you won't need any medicine.
Completely agree. And a child is nurtured at home as well as in schools. They learn a lot of things since the beginning of their life in schools as well as from homes. So, do you think that schools should incorporate something to shape that child as a better human being, as a better citizen of the country, and not just age old syllabus that has been copy pasted generation after generation? So, what do you think the school should incorporate?
As I said before, like, the schools and the government's syllabus needs to have a subject of called as the present subject, where teach me how to be today. Teach me how do I travel in the train. Tell me how do I be in the bus. Should I litter? Should I not litter? When can I spit? When can I not spit? Tell me how to behave with women, how to behave with my mom. How can i how can i how can i have gratitude towards people who are not very fortunate. How can I say thank you to the rickshaw guy? Can I say thank you to the bus conductors or the bus drivers? Teach me all of that. Like, don't teach me what has happened and what will happen. Teach me what I have to be today. It's very important to teach what's going to happen today. I wish that my teachers and my syllabus would have taught me. I I would have definitely been a better person than what I am right now. Because then I like yeah you just been left, like, we think this is what you should be learning. You learn. If you don't like it, you don't learn. You go die, do whatever you want, and you'll be labeled as a failure. And when you're labeled as a failure, it's just so demoralizing. Like, a child's creativity dies, every time you try and tell that child he's a failure. So, we need to teach a lot of things which are supposed to happen in present rather than in past and future. So that's where I feel that, like, and that includes gender neutrality courses, how to behave in public, and, like, and so many people, educated people, sitting with their phones on in a local train or in a national train with loud music, thinking that they're the only people traveling. So they don't understand that side, like, and I think, of course, we are evolving as a SIPS country, and it'll take some time, but yeah, one has to keep fighting towards this. That's all.
It was an incredible discussion I had with you, mind blowing and so authentic, so transparent. And I'm sure our listeners would also be enjoying listening to you. So, coming,
Oh,
if these things can even change one life for the better, if it could inspire them, then that is what I wanted to bring out from this show. But for the listeners, how and where they can connect with you?
yeah, one can reach me on Facebook. We have a Facebook page called Youth for People. We have initiatives like Notebook Donation Drive, where we support 40,000 children with notebooks every year, and we try and help them, giving them notebooks. So, yeah, Youth for People is the page on Facebook, Dipesh Tank on Facebook. I'm on Twitter, Dipesh Tank, and one can reach me out if there is anything that I can do or talk, or, if there's any guidance needed. So I'm happy to be there in every capacity as much as I can. Yes.
And if somebody wants to help you or join you in your initiatives, they can do the same via the same channels?
Absolutely. Like, I'm on Facebook. So, I mean, I am pretty frequent on Facebook. So I'm very available on that. So one can do that. I mean, I can, yeah.
Thank you so much, Dipesh. It's just simply superb discussing with you and getting to know you so much better. And thank you very much again from the bottom of my heart for whatever you are doing for us, for human beings, and for the society at large. And you're a classic example of being a good human being and being a good citizen, first of all, and then a man or a son or a friend, whatever it is. Thank you so much.
I just want to add one more thing. Like, I'm not a great citizen. I'm just trying to be one. So I'm not going to give that credit to myself because I have massive default, and there are friends of mine who will tell you how terrible I am. So
That's okay. But taking the initiative and setting an example is also an initiative.
yeah, of course.
Right.
Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you so much, Somdutta.
Thank you for tuning into my show. That was Dipesh Tank. With so many incidents happening against women all around, this human being took the initiative himself to stop such things from happening. He, in the truest form, is not just saving women and other girls, but also spreading awareness and intensifying humanity to the greatest possible extent. I hope you found this episode inspirational.